Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be addressing, let's call it the elephant in the room. And it's not an elephant for Ubuntu or Manjaro or Arch or any of that. It's basically the misleading or misinterpreting of the information that you could get um, from a source. I'm not saying boiling steam, for example, in this case, which I'm studying out because there's a bunch of tabs that I want to talk about. Is doing it on purpose or something like that? No, he's putting the information here based on ProtonDB, the data dumps that you can get. You can actually get them. He's just mentioning the information and what he gathers from this. But this could be interpreted in multiple ways. So let's just dive into what he wrote here. So Ubuntu and Manjaro fall further. We have already mentioned it before. Ubuntu is on its way down for a long time. I'm guessing he's referring in the gaming world, particularly in the gaming world. Okay. Same for Manjaro. And since 2023, Ubuntu has reached 11 for the first time, and Manjaro keeps falling down. Blah blah blah. All the things that you can actually read here. You can pause the video, remember, and just read it there, and so on and so forth. Okay. So he did a great job in putting this information here, but here's the but. What do we use ProtonDB for? We use it mainly to complain, to put a report about an issue with the game, and that's it. That's it. Main. You will find more, hey, I have a problem with this, than, hey, it works great. Yeah. Okay. So this could be interpreted in two ways. And again, everything that I say here, grain of salt with that, because you need to be objective about everything that I'm about to say here. So don't. Everybody knows that I'm a Ubuntu member. I'll advocate for Ubuntu and all this, but we gotta be very objective here because of the way that the information can be used or interpreted with. Okay, so just by looking at the graph, you're like, okay, Arch is growing, yay. Ubuntu is going down. Linux Mint is just there. Okay, it hasn't changed anything. Endeavor OS, same thing. Fedora, and we keep on going. Flatpak, what the hell? Well, that's new. Well, I didn't know, I don't know about that one. And you can see that Manjaro is going down. You can see that from comparing from the beginning, Ubuntu was like a big chunk there, and then Arch was there, Mint was there, Manjaro was there, and what the hell is this red thing? Debian was there. Okay, others were there, but those were like the main ones. The main ones that you probably would see in SteamOS on the stats and other sources. Okay, but ProtonDB is for registering issues, mainly issues. You will find people saying this works perfectly and all that as a report, but if you know as reviews work, like on like in statistics, most people that are comfortable with the software don't complain about it anywhere, which means that most of the people that actually put information on ProtonDB, including myself, put it there because there's an error and they want to notify the community about it, or there's a workaround and they want to notify the community about it, or the tricks that they did to get the game working, or be the first one to be able to play that game or get that game to work with anti-cheat, with a wine tricks parameter or proton tricks parameter, using Lutrix, using heroic launcher, whatever floats your boat there. But this could be interpreted as, yes, sure, Ubuntu is going down, Manjaro is going down, or there's so many people that are not reporting with the rest of them because their thing is just working. That's it. That's all. It's working, which could be interpreted as there were more errors with the game on Ubuntu at this point, and because of the evolution of Proton with version 6, version 7, version 8, new version 9 now, they have less and less to report about. as an issue. Again, because most people report bad things instead of good things. They take their time when there's something bad to complain about. So it means that there's less issues in Ubuntu. It means that basically Mint has been consistent. It means that there's more issues with EndeavourOS. It looks like more issues with Fedora, more less issues with Manjaro. See, it's a different way of analyzing the data. I mean, if you look at Arch, you would say, "Holy crap, more people are having more issues with Arch." If you go to Reddit, more people are putting an issue with Arch. Again, that information could be interpreted as there's more users with Arch, but it also could be used as there's more issues with Arch. Same thing here. Same thing here. Okay. So it's up to us on how we analyze this in an objective way. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration with, especially with ProtonDB, because it is a platform, a great, amazing platform to report about issues, but also report about beautiful playability for a specific game. Okay, so you need to be able to read this properly or analyze it in a more holistic way, not just Ubuntu and Manjaro fall further, and that's it. Yeah, because you know this just tells you how many users it has. This is in no way ProtonDB does it say anywhere how many users or range or a population of a distro it has. So there's no falling from what? What are you talking about here? With that said, let me continue because there's other things that we need to talk about. We need to talk about again in an objective approach. We're talking about gaming here. Okay, so if I were to sell you the idea that Ubuntu it's the biggest one for gaming, even I wouldn't be able to give you that information truthfully, or at least with a source to back it up. Okay, all I can say is things like this. For example, I went to Similar Tech. I can see that top operating systems at the web server level. That's what I'm saying. Some things could be misinterpreted. Like if you read this, you're like, oh, so nobody uses Manjaro or Arch or any other distros. Well, the ones that show here, for example, Novara, Pop OS, okay, Garuda. We all know that those are main gaming. But if you come to a site like this, I'm not saying the site did it on purpose. What I'm saying is they focus on a certain type of data they want to show. And here you read top operating system technologies, leading operating system technologies share on the web. Share on the web. You would assume, okay, that a lot of sites are talking about them or are mentioning them at some point or not. No, it's actually servers. And we'll get to that in a second. But you would think that Ubuntu is like, holy crap, and nobody uses Novara, nobody uses Pop OS. No, all this is based on web servers. Literally, Ubuntu server, CentOS server, Debian server, Red Hat servers, etc. Okay, if we click the entire internet, this I'm probably sure they gather that information from here. Well, actually, this one, W3 Text, which I'll be talking about in a second. Let's go to build with, for example. We come here, you see Ubuntu. You see Ubuntu here growing like crazy based on the stats that build with is gathering. Again, it's gathering that based on the sites that they actually tested. And you would assume that it's going down here, but I normally for graphs like this is because they haven't gotten all the information on this specific um, time frame there, which we can always double check just by opening several of them, by the way. So if they all go down, then that's what I'm talking about. Yep, yeah, they haven't gathered enough information. Unless the world exploded, they haven't gathered enough information because they're all going downhill from there. So once they gather that information there, great. But you can see that, for example, at the server level, not at the gaming level, at the work environment, let's put it like that. So one of the things that you, as a system engineer, I'm a system engineer, and one of the things that you search for is, which distros you gotta learn, work with. Obviously, RPM ones and Debian ones are the main ones there. But you see stuff like this, trends, which tells you which ones you're gonna need to focus more. Okay. In my case, because I work with Ubuntu as the main one for everything, here's where I gather some of the information about it and the trends for it. Okay. So here you can see that it's growing at from 2011, just in case. This is not just a year. This is, almost 15 years there. It's being a growing trend. That's it. Let's go to W3 Techs. Again, it's web related, not gaming, not music, not all the things that the main concept of this was trying to sell. Which I don't have a problem with this. It's just that you can't be writing stuff like this. Super misleading. That's what I'm saying. So here you can see the stats, and everybody knows about W3 Techs gathering information for like 1,000,000,000 years. And you can see Ubuntu is growing there. It's the first one. Okay, it surpassed Debian. I don't know when. It surpassed CentOS and Red Hat. I believe like 10 years ago, CentOS was Debian and CentOS were the main ones. If we go to the stats here, you can see, it went down a little bit there. Most likely it's the same thing that I mentioned that we haven't grabbed. Yeah, going down there, CentOS, Red Hat. Yeah, it hasn't gathered all the information, all the data in that whatever is gathering with. Okay, but you can see that it's a big chunk from that 41% that we're talking about that has web servers. 25% more or less. Give me a second. Yeah, 25% is using Ubuntu. At the work level, not at the gaming level, meaning it's very popular. You have a 25% chance that if you go into this professional environment, you'll land on Ubuntu. What I'm trying to say. Let's go to gaming on Linux. Gaming on Linux. So here there are 13,800 registered users on gaming on Linux. Again, these are users registered on gaming on Linux that took their time. I'm not even registered on gaming on Linux. That took their time to register here and also mention the distro that they were on. And you can see that the main ones are Arch, Ubuntu, Fedora, okay, and then the rest, okay. Same thing here. You can see almost 10% here, 21% here, the desktops, okay, and you can see all the. But again, it's the people that actually register here on this gaming environment. Not everybody's here, and as you can see, there's only 11,100 Arch users, 800 and something Ubuntu users, which is not even close to the amount of Ubuntu real users that exist, for example. Let's go here to Web Tribunal, Ubuntu usage statistics. Here it says almost 40% of websites are Linux powered. Why am I showing you this? Why am I showing you this? This is on July 2022. They're saying 40% Ubuntu. 40 out of the 40%, where does it say how many Ubuntu users? So you need to read between the lines. Here it says Ubuntu server statistics, and then immediately it says almost 40% of websites are Linux powered. You would assume that 40% of all the web servers are Ubuntu. No, I just show you here. 41% are, but out of that 41%, 25% is Ubuntu. So you gotta read between the lines because sometimes you're like, "Whoa, yes, we're a lot." No, this is somebody might read this too fast, and there'll be like 40% of all websites use Ubuntu, which would be misleading. Okay, Ubuntu versus CentOS server statistics suggest that about a third of Linux-based websites use Ubuntu. No. When did they gather this information? In June 2022. It could be that it went down, or it could be that more sites started using Linux, and the absolute versus relative stats for them changed. Okay, so more people join, maybe a new distro is there or something like that. They whatever, but it's not 40% for Ubuntu, nor is it 33. Is it's 25. And if I remember correctly, it was 22 before. Well, something like 6 months ago. It was something like 22. Where they get that 33, I don't know. Nearly 20% of the top 1,000 websites use Ubuntu. Okay. Let's go into the actual Ubuntu. I think there was like a percentage kind of thing here that would say that. Let me go back here, but we also have this one. So we can just say, you know what? Let's just do the top 10,000. Okay? Around this time, there were 1,000 for the top 10,000. So again, this information, let me see where I left it. It's not correct. Okay? So you gotta be careful about what they say, how they say it, when they said it. Again, this was in 2022, 2023, 2023. Okay. Nearly 4 times more websites use Linux than CentOS. More websites use Linux than CentOS. Also, the wording. What? CentOS is Linux. Over 40 million. Well, I don't trust this site anymore. But my point being, you gotta be objective. Things don't add up. Question them. Here's a very, very, very old site that I used when I was in my original country in Venezuela. And Venezuela was very active. I would say 10, 15 years ago, very active on the Linux world, super active. Okay. And we always had something like 3 to 4 events, Linux huge events, international events over there. I participated in many of them. I was actually a coordinator in 2 of them. And one of the things that grabbed my attention was this. This is Wikimedia, an analysis of the stats for the operating systems in 2015. 2015, before they migrated to the new version. Okay. And one of the things that I want to show you here, you won't be able to see it because this is a 4K recording, but let me just make this fat baby like this, is what they had of stats for Wikipedia at that moment for the users. Okay. So obviously Android would take the chunk there, but then you had all of these ones here. So Arch at that time, for their stats, again, for the users that were using Wikipedia. Now everybody searches on Wikipedia, but for the ones that went to Wikipedia, Arch had 335,000. CentOS at that moment had 872,000. Debian had 3.1 million. 3.1 million users, okay? Epiphany, by the way, this could be the same users visiting the site over and over again. I don't know if they're unique. The following overview of page requests by operating system accompanies more server requests. This report knows all requests where agent information is missing. Okay, that's good. So if they can't confirm it, that means that some of this might be missing information. I don't see something that says unique visits. Okay. So that's something that we got to take into consideration. But let's just keep on going, and you can analyze that yourself or think about it, or research it If it's unique, great. If it's not unique, then at least we know the traffic that they were getting. Okay, but you keep on going. 53 million versus 300 0.3 million. Gen 2, Mandriva, my God. And then you find here Ubuntu, basically 1.2 billion. Okay, a huge amount. Really doubt that went down a lot, but like some news outlets mention, like we're talking a billion here. Most likely, just looking at this, it would mean in this a period. Let me see. This is for just a month. This okay. So it most likely means that they are not unique. Okay, they're not unique. They just the same IP, the same. It could be counted towards just the total number. So it's not unique. I mean, unless yeah, it can't be unique. That's too many. Point being, let's assume that they are not unique. You can see here Ubuntu. You can see here Ubuntu and other Ubuntu babies. Here's Kubuntu. Hi baby. But you can see also the mass amount. It's not a normal amount compared to the other ones. Okay. This could also be interpreted as people going to Wikipedia from Ubuntu a lot because they're researching or something. Because maybe Ubuntu was used more for schools, colleges, stuff like that, like academia in general. Okay. Here's the updated Wikimedia Foundation information for this. Okay, so from the 2015, 2016, we're just talking about right now, till January right now. So here you can see that Ubuntu is 0.1% and Linux in general is 0.6%. You know what? I'm just gonna remove. Let me remove everybody. Here's Android there. Let's put CentOS, Fedora. Let's put the actual Linux in there. Well, let's just put it. I'll leave these links on the description below, but you can put them yourself. Let me see where Arch is. Oh, there's no. Can I type Arch in here? So let's just enable that one then. Jeez. Linux. What could be other? Whoa. Other could be interpreted as a bunch of things, but at least for the traffic bar, here you can see that Ubuntu shows on the graph versus Red Hat, SUSE, Fedora, CentOS. Okay, there's a little chunk here, a baby there, Fedora. But right now, the one that has the most traffic, meaning it has the most members, because remember, they're just checking this out, that visited Wikipedia from a Linux-based distribution is the only one that's showing here is Ubuntu. You can interpret this as multiple things, but just based on this, which distribution actually shows on the graph, or you know what, let me just kill Linux so the other ones can show. The other ones don't even show. Okay. Okay, yeah, so it is working correctly. Jeez. What happens if I do Android? Give me a second. Okay. So it is working correctly. So, okay, let me kill Ubuntu. Let me just kill Ubuntu because Ubuntu is the one that's killing the other ones. Oh my God. So, almost nobody. Let's remove this. Let's start removing Red Hat. Let's put Fedora. Yeah. The way that it collects the information, but you can see that there's a consistent amount of Ubuntu users, at least visiting Wikipedia for this. Let's go to Stack Overflow. So there was a survey, again, I'm not talking about gaming. I'm talking about work. But the main Linux distribution that was mentioned for just personal or professional use out of 87,000, not a billion, okay, just 87,000 that actually fill this in, Ubuntu was the third most or the first most Linux distro use. Okay, personal use 27, professional use 26. Debian follow there. Here's Arch. Okay, I'm showing you all this information so you can take into account from multiple points of view which, well, actually, which distribution is not so much the most popular, but the most used. And if there is a tendency of things going down, either for a distro or in Linux in general, which is not. If you go to the previous, you know what? Let me see if we can actually do this. Can we go to the previous one of this? Oh, yes, we can. Puppy. Can I type Ubuntu here? No, I can't. Demographics. Let me see if we can find or just type operating system. Okay, so they maybe, okay, they didn't go deeper into this, but you can see a trend there. A trend of, wow, Rust. Growing, baby. Of Linux growing there. I don't know if we can do 2021 like that. Well, apparently we can. Operating system. Linux, well, in 2021 it was 25 versus 45. 25, 25, 45. And if we go back to the 2022, now it's 40. It grew there. And if we go to 2023, it grew so much that it got divided, basically. So they had to divide it into distributions. So 27 here. I'm guessing they're dividing this ones. Is there a general just between the three there? No? Okay. 59 plus 32 plus 27 will already surpass the 100%. I'm guessing there's another operating system option here. I'm guessing. Like just, nope, no, there's not. Well, you'll need to calculate this because it would be a little bit misleading saying that 27% of all users that responded here use or for the operating system, the 27% would be Ubuntu. No, you gotta do the proper calculation here, adding all the ones that are Linux based into one, and then we'll know for sure the actual percentages. Again, objective approach. Let's go to gaming on Linux here again. Here's a trend that they're on July 2023, where Windows is 96%, macOS 1.8, and Linux 1.96. Linux overtakes macOS users in Steam thanks to Steam Deck. And like a month later, you can see 1.82 on Linux, 1.96. OS went down, and Windows just stayed the same. I don't know if the total absolute population is growing. So if it is growing and Linux is maintaining that 1.82%, it means that Linux is also growing. Is that the same? For example, let's put it like this. This is a good case. You have 10 million members. And it says here that Windows is 96, 95. And Linux is 2, and OS is 2 or 3 or something like that, okay? And then that same population, the 10 million, grow to 100 million. And Linux still says 2%. Did Linux actually go down? No, it didn't. It grew. It maintained that percentage based on the total amount that grew. Understand? So that 2% or 10%, let's put it, from that 1 million would be 100,000 people. But if they grew to 100 million, then it's not 100,000 anymore. It's 1 million, 5 million, 10 million. Okay, so it's maintaining its percentage, and the absolute amount of the population is actually growing, which means that the Linux population is also growing. That's why, particularly for me, Steam surveys, they suck, because they don't tell you the absolute total amount of users that are there, so you can understand if it's actually growing or shrinking. It's misleading completely. They have not. I'm not the only one that's saying that. That's been said for years now, and they never fix that. Just in case. So if you see your distro going down, like here, Arch, it went down 0.26. No, it did not. If the population of Steam grew, this percentage, or actually the total amount of Arch users, did not actually go down. It went up. It's just that the population went up, the total population went up more, and it just so happens that more people, for example, joined or started using the Steam Deck, okay, and other things. And that's taking into account that people also migrate or move from one distro to another just for curiosity, to test them themselves. Here you can see that Ubuntu grew, but also those people could have gone away, which is another thing. I can see Ubuntu 2204 here, 2204.3 here. And you're like, well, Ubuntu, okay, so Ubuntu has 4%. That's it, 4.1%. Actually, it has this, plus any other Ubuntu that's there. It's just that Ubuntu, compared to other distros, it actually tells the Steam which specific version of Ubuntu they're using. If you're a rolling release, it will always, well, like in this case, if you're a rolling release, it'll always say Arch Linux. That's it. In the case of Ubuntu, which is it's a 6-month kind of update there, or new version, it separates them. And Steam then ends up misleading people in regards to that. Not only that, but I forgot about another thing, the Steam packaging system. So if you're using Snap or Flatpak, those might be considered others. And I did not know that till today on a discussion on the discourse on Ubuntu. So there's a 24% in there, and some part of it, it's actually also Ubuntu. So Steam is not doing a great job in regards to the survey. It's misleading when you actually want to get deep into it, and it's not very open. Okay, in regards to that. Let's go here. This is great from gaming on Linux, how the Steam Deck release, everything that you can see about Linux in general, how it's growing. Okay, pretty cool here. Users, Linux market share is, here's the thing, it's a market share, but we don't know the total. We only know the percentage. So again, based on that, we're not clear if the population of Linux is actually growing. It's just a percentage based on a total that we don't know the total about. Okay. In any case, compared to the growth of Windows and compared to the growth of Mac OS, this trend at least tells you that compared to them, Linux is growing. That's all it says. We don't know how many are in there. There's just estimations. Okay. Now let's go to DistroWatch. Sorry for the long video, but we're gonna clear a lot of confusion in regards to a lot of sites that people use. When you ask on Google, what's the most popular Linux distribution? Almost all the sites always say, well, on DistroWatch, they're saying, very important to read the title, page hit ranking. If I click a billion times on Ubuntu, that puppy's gonna rise a lot, okay? It was popular on DistroWatch by clicks, which is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. You can create a distributed VPN kind of thing here and just bombard DistroWatch to Ubuntu with click solutions or something like that, and we just raise. Not only that, but MX Linux is, if you're thinking about that, it would be the main one. MX Linux is the best one, the best Linux distribution around. What the hell? Pretty sure everybody that where's Arch? Where's Arch? Can't find the name Arch. Well, Ubuntu is here, Fedora is here, Manjaro is here, Debian and Devoir. Arch, where the hell are you? Arch is somewhere in here. And pretty sure Arch users are gonna be like, what? This is so misleading. That's why you gotta read between the lines. Read between the lines. Let's do 12 months. Okay? Uh, I mean, the only thing that you can use this is that which distribution typically stays in the top, I don't know, 100. Where's Arch? Yeah, oh, here's Arch. Okay. So in the last 7 days. Yeah, I think I believe MX Link is just spamming the crap out of DistroWatch. Like really? Really? Let's just do, is there like a today? Yeah, I mean, this is just, you know what? Let's do average rating. Average rating. There we go. In I'm guessing the full spam. So Arch Linux in average was clicked more than something weird. Dev1. Okay, that's what I'm saying. This is very misleading. Like really, a lot of people don't even know most of them. Okay, there's Slackware, but Slackware today, Debian, Mint, OpenSUSE, and so on and so forth. Most of the ones that are here should be at the top. That's what I'm saying. But if you go to the last 7 days, I'm pretty sure MX Link is just paying some group to click there because really, you understand what I'm trying to say here? Hits per day. Hits per day. No. So there's something going on here. So you can use DistroWatch to also know which one is more popular. Mint is amazing. Amazing. Manjaro, I also like it. Ubuntu, Fedora, Pop! OS, come on. Novara. So what the hell? What are you talking about here? Let's do MX Linux, which oh, well, I was a MX user. MX is desktop-oriented Linux distribution based on Debian, and they use this and and they're paying people to click on DistroWatch. What? No, just kidding. But that it's my point. You can't assume that this is the best one because DistroWatch uses this type of sucky 1990 clicking solution. This has been debunked way too many times in regards to useful statistics. Let's put it like that. Let's continue. Again, take everything that I say, grain of salt, analyze it yourself. Leave comments about what you think because I'm trying to gather as much information in a more holistic way in regards to, or trying to, which distributions are more popular. So here's Stack Exchange. Again, Stack Exchange is more about professionals in multiple areas. But one of the communities that's here, it's Ask Ubuntu. I'm showing it because I was a moderator there, very active, the community there. But I'm also showing you because you need to analyze this from the point of view of the community involved. How big is the community? Which means it gives you an insight of how big is the amount of users on that specific distro. I don't see here Ask Arch. They got the forum. They have the best wiki, the best. I'm an Ubuntu user. I'm telling you, they got the best. I even did a video on my channel about that. They got the best wiki for configuration, gaming, problem solving solutions. It's amazing. It's very complete. Let's put it like that. Some things need to be updated, but in general, it's amazing. But in terms of amount of users, okay? Just here, and it doesn't mean that that's all the Ubuntu users around, but just here there's 1.5 million registered users versus 3 times less on the whole Unix and Linux, okay? And well, and we can keep on going down. But in terms of, yeah, that's on users. So let's see, questions per day. So questions per day, in Ubuntu, we get 54 questions per day versus, hey, where's Unix? Versus 33, which means just Ubuntu alone has more activity, let's put it that, on a daily basis than the whole Linux the rest of the Linux ecosystem. Again, based on what the people that come here, you can't assume that this is general for everything. So based on the people that come here, Ask Ubuntu gets 54 questions versus 33 questions a day for the rest of the Linux ecosystem. Okay, and Ask Ubuntu has 440,000 questions, 414,000 questions versus basically almost half of them. Okay, that tells you a lot about, most likely Ubuntu has the highest amount of, I would say worldwide in this case, users compared to any other. Any other. If any other distro would want to create a community to, like, a question and answering thing here, it would be on a Stack Exchange. And they, I, well, at least for now, I haven't seen, oh, Magento is here. I haven't seen one. I'm scrolling down. That's not Ubuntu. They basically, Ubuntu is so big. Yeah, I can't keep. I mean, Monero is here. Yeah. Okay, you got my point. Oh, I saw Elementary OS. I think. Yeah. Look, for developers and users. Great. So there's one. And that's 28,000 users. Great. Awesome. Congratulations there. I mean, for them to actually go live with the community, there's a lot of steps they're gonna do. So the fact that they did this is amazing. Um, I don't see any other open source here. Yeah, well, you guys can come here, vet this yourself, just to make sure if I didn't miss a distribution that I don't see here. But coming back to the wow, there's more now. Coming back to the question here, look at the community. That's super huge. That's super huge. A community. So this tells you without a doubt that Ubuntu has the biggest community, biggest user population around. There's no way of measuring, again, similar to Steam or survey, similar to the other ones. There's no way of knowing how many. Mainly because I'm pretty sure that if Ubuntu at some point puts like a tool there to gather information from the user and their hardware and to count them like on Linux counter. Before years ago, there was something called Linux counter. Then people would freak out. Oh my God, they're my privacy. So that's why you can. That's one point. That's why you can see how many total Ubuntu users there are. But here you can actually see how many actually register here to get some information, and it's bigger, almost twice as big in terms of activity versus Unix and Linux. And they both, let me see, 13 years, 13 years. They both basically they both started the same time, and the stats don't lie here. Okay, that's just to give you an idea. Let's go to Wayback. Why am I going to Wayback? Because it's the only way that I could see the Steam before. Okay, let me load those in, and here's the official one. Here's the official one. And on the official one, if you click, you see Arch Linux. As I'm saying, it's a rolling release, meaning it doesn't divide itself in Arch Linux 1, 2, 3, 4.5, nothing like that. Nothing like Ubuntu. On Ubuntu, you get divisions by 2204.1, 2, 3, 22 or dot 04, 22.10, 23.04, 23.10, and so on and so forth. Okay, which is my problem here. This thing only shows you the top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The top 8, even worse. And everything else is in the other. If you're an Ubuntu user, you know that we're missing users from the 2204.2, 1, and basically just 2204. We're missing the 23.10, 22.10. We're missing the 2304, 2310. All those are missing, and all these are dropped in the other completely because Steam, thought about, I just want to show you the first 8. That's why this sucks. They gotta fix this crap. It's super misleading. Arch Linux is rolling release. That's why everything for Arch is here. But do know then, and that's why we objective. That's why I'm opening the other ones, because I go back to, okay, so I go back to January 2022. But let's talk about the one from right now. We're missing the stats for the 2204.2.10, 22.10, 2304, 2310. All those are missing. I'm using, particularly me, I'm using right now 2310. Most of the users are either on the 2310 or the latest LTS, which would be this one in this case. But you got that mix there. So it could be 1% for all those and would still be above Arch Linux, if you get my meaning. And that's not even counting the packaging. So I think it's Snap or Flatpak, I don't know which one, doesn't reflect on Steam because it ends up on other two. So that means that users from the 2204.3 that use Snap, I don't know which one, Snap or Flatpak, whichever they use, that Steam survey doesn't analyze properly and throws it in the other, then we're still capping this, removing real percentages from here and throwing in the other. So there's a big chunk that's here just for Ubuntu. Just for Ubuntu. And I'm pretty sure if we were to see that percentage, it would be more than 10% of the whole thing. It would be much more than this, much more. But let's go back to the stats here. Here's one case. Let's see what I'm looking for. It's other Ubuntu versions. So here we can see Arch Linux 7.81. This was on November last year, and the 0.3 was 6.67. Remember this: 7.8, 6.60, 7.6. Here's now 7.76 and 6.8. Okay, 7.8, 6.6, 7 point something, and then if you do the math, you're like, dude, that's not 0.9% less. Just do the math. Here's 6.8. Okay, here's 6.6, and you get a negative. What I'm trying to show you, and you can actually go to December if you wanted to test this, okay? But I want to show you that this percentage is misleading because the whole Steam ecosystem could have grown in users. And because most of them went to Windows first, and some of them actually went to Linux, it would still show you a negative value here. Like it keeps on going down. No, dude. If more users, this is like the 1 million, 10 million, 100 million example that I just gave. The higher the population, but if the amount of users that join a Linux distribution, I don't care which one, it stays the same, it will show something like this. Okay? What's happening here is that Steam as a whole grew more popular with more users that went to different operating systems, most of which actually went to Windows. And then it says the idea that you will get here is, and then it says that Arch Linux went down minus 0.09%. Ubuntu, this one, went down 0.24. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It grew. That's what I'm saying. This is misleading. And that's why I wanted to show you the other ones. Here's November. Here's May, for example. So you can see Arch, 9.99%. For me, this means I grew faster than Windows users or something like that. Okay. Here's February 2023. Okay. Here's, what's this? November 2022. Okay. You can also see here that we're talking about Ubuntu 22.04.1. Okay. I don't know if there's here's a .1 too. May, let's see, May, here's 2022. See? So it says it went down some percentage, but where's that 2204.1? It went into the other. It's less than that 3%. Do remember that we're talking, here's February, here's May, just 2 months there of a difference. We're talking that 04.1 had 9%. And at some point during that time, some people upgraded, some people didn't upgrade or something. That thing is somewhere in down there. Okay. And we can keep on going to previous ones. If I go to the Wayback Machine, let's do 2023. I think there's a December. Here's a December, see? Let's do a December so we can see the difference between the latest one. Let's put December here. The latest one, here's January 2024, right now. Okay. Then November 2023. And let's see the Steam for December of last year, if it loads. Anyway, you can see the trends. Okay, you can go back if you want to. Here's Ubuntu with a big chunk there. That one. Here's this is what I was talking about. See, so here they had them like this at least, and you can see that some people would say Ubuntu has 70% of the Linux percentage, which we don't know the total amount of users for. It doesn't have 17%. It has 17 plus this 6 plus any other that they put here for Ubuntu related reasons that they didn't want to show here. Okay. Okay, let's go to let me see, where's the, that's weird because I clicked on December. Didn't I click on December? Well, that's misleading. May, November, February, May, November, and then for some reason November opened also again there. Yeah, it looks like Wayback Machine has a boo-boo. But at least you get my point. We're not really seeing the truth story here. We're seeing it for rolling releases. I get that because they reflect themselves as just one, that like that. I same concept that I'm talking about Ubuntu applies for Linux main. I don't know. I think it also applies for Pop OS for the ones that come out every 6 months. Okay, for the ones that do rolling release and they just keep the same name, you can actually see their actual percentage. That's it. For the ones that don't, like Ubuntu, main, Pop OS, you gotta add them up with the percentage that we don't see on the others. That's the problem with this, and that's the problem that they've known so far. By the way, there's no December. I keep on clicking on that thing. It just gives me the wrong thing there. Let's go to another site. So Market Splash. They have some stats here. Linux usage. Okay, first, when did they gather this information? 4 months ago. Okay, 4 months ago. So 4 months ago, they said that. Let me see. What do they have that's important? Red Hat share the global server operating system market 33%. Where the hell did you get that? Um, Let me see. Ubuntu users experience a search from this to that among all track. I would love to know how the hell they got that information. Operating systems. Overall, website powered by Linux. More or less, yeah, 40%. By 2018, Steam offered 4,000 games. Now it's basically all of them with Proton, almost. So here's, let's see. For me, this is more or less useless information. I don't divide people like that. Of those utilizing Ubuntu 18.04, and this was created 4 months ago, why are you using really, really, really old information? So you gotta be careful here. Careful with the information, the sites. Like I would assume they would have used information in 2023, especially the Ubuntu 22.04. If we're talking about the LTS, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna skip this page. In the domain of desktop gaming, Linux users represent, well, macOS this and Windows, blah 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 blah. Yeah, this is a sucky statistics. I want to show you this too because I've seen sites that use. Okay, this is from. Well, this is from right now. I see that they put this here. True list, and their source was W3 text. See this Ubuntu saying 33.9%, Debian 16. Remember when I show you this stats? That's why I'm saying you gotta check on multiple sources, be objective about the information. Because if I see this, I would say Ubuntu accounts for 33.9% of the Linux market. That means that over a third of websites that use Linux run on Ubuntu. This is from 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Is it true? No, it's not. It is good news for Linux, but it's misleading. It's not correct. It's not 33. If there's a decision as a business owner or a gamer or something that you would have taken because of these stats, then you would have gotten wrong stats. Here are the real ones. Okay, here are the actual real ones from today. Here are the real ones from today too, versus something that was created 3 days ago. That's why even if it's in pro of my Ubuntu distro, which is my favorite, of course, it needs to be real. It needs to have a backed up data that can be correlated and verifying all that. Okay, this is just, yeah, I wouldn't even keep on reading it. It just gave me false information there. And the problem with that is this. Here's another site. Enterprise apps today. Look at this crap. Same thing. Ubuntu accounts for 3. So they just, hey, ChatGPT, John, create an article about Linux distributions in Ubuntu. And just one copied the other one copied the other one. Everybody just started making the same mistake. Ubuntu controls, same mistake everywhere. Okay? This one is basing it on the other ones. The other one is basing on the other ones. And if you ask where you got that information, oh no, I got it from this site. Oh, and they got it wrong. Oh, it's not our fault. Oh, so journalism, investigative journalism doesn't exist anymore. Uh, I understand now. Got it. Thank you. Um, Here's another one, for example, January 2023. And this is why it's very important to understand all the points that I'm here trying to transmit, which is not the most popular one or the one that shows first is the most useful for you in different scenarios. For gaming, you have to try multiple ones. Obviously, you're looking for the one that has the biggest community. Why? For help. The one that's easiest to install if you're a beginner, or the one that gives you the more advantage in performance if you're an expert or just you're like me that likes to play around with things. So it depends on who you are. what are you trying to accomplish? What type of hardware do you have? What's your typical day of today kind of thing activities there. So here's an article. Why am I showing you this for the next one? Because it's, if you go over it, you're gonna see that they're comparing Clear Linux, well, Alma Linux and OS, Clear Linux and others at the server level. Okay, and you're like, Clear Linux, holy crap, and Clear Linux, whoa my god. And if we go down all the geometric means there, um, you see that Clear Linux has the best performance, and if you've seen other Phoronix uh, benchmarks, you see Clear Linux is the best of the best of the best. How come we don't use this one a lot? How come you don't see as the most popular one for Intel users, for example, in my case? Because it has its quirks, it has its things. The community is very small compared to the other ones. Okay, maybe it doesn't have a wiki as powerful as Arch, or maybe it doesn't have a huge community like Ubuntu, or maybe this or that. So there's a lot of things that just by looking at this, if you were to take into basically the final decision, oh no, yes, I'm going with Clear Linux because obviously it's the best one. Then you will end up in that group of people that come to ProtonDB, for example, complaining about a certain thing for a game because the distribution has this issue, because your amount of the possibilities of you getting a proper answer or a solution for a problem are very small. If Clear Linux is so powerful and it's one of the best ones, for example, how come you don't see it here? If MX Linux is so powerful and it's one of the best ones based on DistroWatch, how come you don't see it here? You get my point? So you need to gather what is important for you for your distro or the one that you're going to sticking with. I mean, distro hopping is great until you've been doing it. If you've been using Linux for 23, 24 years of my life, for example, I did distro hopping for 8 years, 10 years, something like that. And then the hopping just stopped. At some point, you gotta be realistic. Like, dude, the most important things about Linux in general, it doesn't matter which distro is actually using it, either for, in my case, for the command line, compatibility for the hardware, performance. Okay, you're not really going to look for the one that boots faster if you're, which would mean that you love booting. Are you gonna be booting, 50 times a day? Uh, you want it for gaming, you want it for work. Okay, then that means that you want something that's more compatible with what you actually need, which is the actual question. You want for gaming, great. Look for a list of the ones that are more popular for gaming, which ones probably have the less errors mentioned of it, which one has the better community support, which is just a few actually, like 4 or 5. Pick one, stay with that one, try to solve issues on that specific one, so you learn. You don't learn from success, you actually learn only from failure. Okay, success doesn't actually give you any practical knowledge. So stick with that one, with the one that you want. Yeah, sure, you can jump from one district to another. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. Actually, it gives you more knowledge about the differences between them. I would, for example, there's something called the Linux timeline that it was pretty cool before, like this monster. Okay, this goes to 2024. Well, they updated it until 2023. But obviously, we're not assuming you're going to be jumping in all this. Okay, my first one was Caldera Linux. I don't even think that thing shows here. So, but do go to the ones that are more popular, because once you learn one, like here, Red Hat, once you learn in RPM based one, you've learned 90% of the other ones. That's it. That's all. Once you've learned a Debian that package one, you've learned 90% of the other ones. That's all. Same for this one. Same for Pacman. Same for Merge. Same for whatever. You get my point. You can jump around a couple of times until you get used to the one that adapts better to your needs. The most popular one, again, Clear Linux, it's not the best one for everything. Same for Ubuntu, same for Arch, Debian, and the other ones. So with that said, hopefully you've learned which one has the biggest community, which one has the better, let's say, help desk, how to read certain things so you don't get misinterpreted or misleading information, either from here or here. They didn't do it on purpose. It's just the way that they gather the information. That's it. So you got to be able to read between the lines. And sometimes they don't even research the thing first before just copy pasting the crap out of stuff, and then everybody would think that Ubuntu is, oh my god. I am an Ubuntu advocate, but I'm also try to look for the truth in regards to that. With that said, there's a beautiful video that I would recommend everybody watch. It's on the Linux Foundation. It's 2022, what a year for Linux. That's why when I was very active in the Linux community as a coordinator in my country, and when we saw this video, that just it rocks. It's a very powerful video. That's when Steam for Linux came out, by the way. Just this whole boom came out. So I recommend watching this video. It's called 2012, What a Year for Linux. It was 12 years ago. You can see how much we've grown. The whole thing has grown over the past 12 years. Communities, Linux distributions for gaming, everything that has changed over the past 12 years in a really, really, really fast pace. Okay? So hope you like this video. Way too long of a video, but at least it gives you an insight in how to read objectively certain things about statistics um, from multiple points of view. Okay, so you can compare them, or at least know how to research and compare them between each other. Okay? That's all. That's all. Think positive as always. Big hugs. Bye.